Hello everyone, this is John speaking here on my YouTube channel. And today we're going to be talking about how to make up your bag, the setup of your golf bag that I have right here next to me, for example. So you got your iron set, of course, which is, pretty much about half of your set is going to be your iron set. That could be 4 to pitching wedge, that can be 5 to A wedge. It'll kind of get into who should have what. Depends on who you are as a golfer, definitely what skill level you are, I find, in terms of what iron set. So there's that part. Then there's also up on the driver's side, you got your driver and your 3 woods and your 5 woods and your hybrids. What should you have up that end, okay? Now, down on the wedge side of things, of course, one of the key things on the wedge side of things is knowing what your pitching wedge loft is. And again, if you don't know what that is, you can just go to Google. For example, let's say it's a Paradigm X Callaway irons, for example. If that's the case, you just go Paradigm X iron specs. You just click submit, and it's going to tell you exactly what the loft of the pitching wedge is. Now, in that case, it's 43. So 43, you want from 43 and all the way down to your lob wedge, if that's what you desire to have. You want to be every 4 to 5 degrees. You want another club. So for example, your pitching wedge is 43 degrees. Then you want your A wedge to be 48. Then you'll need a 52. So you're going to have 2 gap wedges, 48 and 52 degrees of a loft. 2 A wedges is what I would call them. Sometimes some of the companies will call them, have a G on the bottom, but that's a gap wedge. So you got that, and then you got, of course, your 56 degree, and then 60 if you want to. Some people have it, some people don't. I think you always should have a 60. Just for around the green. You really don't use it much other than that, but that's a good club to have for those little chip shots around the green. But again, those are kind of how you gauge that. So let's go out to the driver's side of things just for a second. That's, of course, here's your driver, right? This is the driver. Of course, that's, average driver, 9 to 10 and a half. Most people are 9s, I find. I mean, these drivers now launch so easily, so that a 9 degree like what this is, you got that. Then, of course, you got a 3 wood, something like this one right here. That can be either 13 or 15. Now, who should have 13 and who should have 15? Now, your 13 degree is going to be more for your long ball hitter. That's going to be more for your 280 to 300 person who hits it a long way. 3 wood is a good club for those people off the tee on a tight hole, for example. It just gives, a little bit of extra pop off the tee, when you're 13 degrees. And of course, you got to have a good skill level to hit a 13 degree, off the deck, especially. It's less loft than the typical 3 wood. It's a strong lofted 3 wood, so it's going to be tough. I mean, unless you're an accomplished golfer. Okay, most people are going to then the second club on that end of things is going to be their 15 degree 3 wood, and that's what you should have. For most people, again, the long ball hitters may have a 13, but then you should have, if not a 13, a 15 degree 3 wood. So that's your 3 wood. Okay. Now the next, there's also a choice down, the next club down, which was going to be either 5 wood or 3 hybrid. Some people will go to 4 hybrid, especially the shorter hitters. That's kind of the right gapping for somebody who doesn't hit it very far. But usually it's either the 5 wood or 3 hybrid should be the next club. Now what's the difference? The 5 wood, like this one right here. This 5 wood, for example, you're looking at about 18 degrees of loft. Okay, it's 2 inches longer than the 3 hybrid. So it's going to launch it higher, and it's going to go a little further, yeah. But, the hybrid is going to be, has a hook bias to it. I mean, some people have a hard time with that. They just hook it too much, and I don't know about a 3 hybrid. Well, then a 5 wood be a good alternative, and you still have the proper gapping. And then, of course, and you're looking like 42 inches or so on a 5 wood in terms of length. Then your 3 hybrid is going to be 40 and a half inches long in length. So, whichever one that you are better at hitting, and of course the best way to practice with it at the driving range or the golf course, that's going to tell you which one is going to be right for you, but that's the choice you want to make on that club. Okay, now, you go to the iron, let's go to the iron set now. Typically these days, most people have 7 clubs in their iron set. That can be either 5 to A wedge, which I think is becoming more and more people, Then, of course, you have your forward pitching wedge people. Now, your forward pitching wedge people, I think, are going to be more for the better golfers who are playing blades, forged blades, and things of that nature. Usually, you find them using forward pitching wedge. You know, they're pretty good with the 4-iron. But the average golfer, the 15-20 handicap person, yeah, you should be 5 to 8 wedge probably. You know, and the better players maybe forward pitching wedge. And then, of course, you take that pitching wedge, and then whatever that A wedge is, and then you go 4 degrees out from there. So, for example, if you're using Mizuno hot metals, I'm just going to use that as an example, and that's typically what a 15 and 20 handicap's going to use. Would be more like the Mizuno hot metals, and using the Mizuno hot metals, you know, you're looking at, you know, your gap wedge is going to be about 48, then 52, 56, 60, and then you just want to do it every 4 degrees out. And so, you know, that's how you make up your bag for the average golfer, which, you know, the vast majority of our golfers are that, you know, below 12 or 13 handicaps. I mean, you're looking at, you know, maybe 20 to 30% of the population falls into that category, of the golfing population falls into that category. But, you know, so wherever you are, it's going to determine how your bag should be made up. But you want to make sure. And then, of course, after the lob, of course, a putter, and you know, that's something we're going to go over in the next video when we talk about putting. But anyways, that's how you should make your bag up. You know, from the driver all the way down to the lob wedge, and just there's some choices to be made, and it just depends on what you're better at and what level of golfing you are. So there you go. So on the next video, like I said, we're going to dive into putting and how to get fit to a putter. And how to find the right one that's gonna, you know, hopefully make you the best putter you can be. So until next time, we'll see you then. Thank you. Bye.